In the highest levels of Western intelligence, advisors and foreign officials were pitching a very specific narrative to United States leadership. The story went like this. The Iranian regime is economically bankrupt, universally hated by its own citizens, and so fragile that it would fall within 24 hours of an invasion. So, when the Iranian Ayatollah died, the assumption in Washington was that the public would immediately take to the streets in celebration. His passing was viewed as the inciting incident that would cause the system to shatter, allowing foreign troops to enter as conquering heroes. But the visual evidence on the ground told a completely different story. Tens of millions of Iranians packed the streets and stadiums of Tehran. In punishing 35 degrees Celsius heat, they set up misting stations, distributed food, and cycled hundreds of thousands of people through a massive, highly coordinated funeral procession. Seeing those vast, unified crowds triggered immediate alarm among those pushing for a military strike. Any ground invasion against this level of mass mobilization would turn the American military into a meat grinder. Grave. This misread was a failure of the highest levels of intelligence. Western officials were operating on highly optimistic, inaccurate assumptions about the basic structural reality of a 90 million person nation. To understand the situation accurately, we have to look at the domestic nuance. It is true that millions of Iranians actively oppose the government and have risked their lives in fierce street protests to demand political change. But right alongside that opposition exists a highly resilient Shiite base that viewed the deceased leader as their absolute spiritual figurehead. In reality, the threat of foreign intervention acts as a powerful adhesive. When Western powers threaten invasion or applaud bombings in neighboring regions, those internal political fractures instantly seal shut. The imminent threat of outside force instantly unifies these divided factions, and the Iranian population has intense historical reasons to distrust Western intervention, rooted heavily in a tragedy from July 1988, the fate of Iran Air Flight 655. During the Iran-Iraq War, the United States Navy stationed a guided missile cruiser in the Persian Gulf. It fired on a commercial Airbus flying a standard route over the Strait of Hormuz, killing all 290 innocent people on board. The U.S. ultimately paid a financial settlement, but never formally apologized for the strike. Memories of events like Flight 655 ensure that Western military action is viewed by the Iranian public as lethal imperialism. The expectation that they would welcome foreign troops as liberators is completely disconnected from how they perceive their own history. Western assessments consistently framed the Iranian regime as an international pariah, totally isolated from the global community. The attendance records at the funeral proved the exact opposite. Dozens of powerful nations sent top-level official delegations to pay their respects. Representatives from China, Russia, India, and even regional rivals like Saudi Arabia all gathered in Tehran. Iran used this massive gathering for a highly strategic organizing tactic known as scriptural diplomacy. As they met with each foreign delegation, Iranian officials paired their political messaging with carefully tailored Quranic verses to communicate specific geopolitical intentions. Proxy groups like Hezbollah received verses focused on military resolve and refusing to weaken in battle. Meanwhile, mediators like Qatar received verses emphasizing divine favor and forgiveness, and Saudi Arabia received messaging specifically designed to build mutual understanding between two armies. By embedding political strategy inside deep cultural symbolism, Iran demonstrated it knows exactly how to weave together a complex global network. This is a highly competent actor leveraging international alliances, directly contradicting the narrative of an isolated state. Because the pressure campaign failed to isolate Iran, the Middle East is now rapidly reorganizing its power structures, and they are doing it entirely around the United States. We are seeing the emergence of a powerful new collaborative bloc, often referred to as the Islamabad Quartet. This alignment brings together Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. Together, these nations are actively shifting regional transit control away from the West. They are deciding the future of critical choke points like the Strait of Hormuz on their own terms, moving out from under the U.S. security umbrella and replacing it with one anchored by China. While this strategic shift happens in plain sight, some Western leaders are still trying to explain away the massive funeral turnout as millions of paid actors crying fake tears. Dismissing these vast displays of national cohesion as mere propaganda means ignoring the actual data our intelligence agencies collect. accurate assessments require accepting uncomfortable facts. If we continue to underestimate an adversary's political resilience and deep roots in society, we risk dragging the world blindly into a catastrophic escalation trap.